We choose life. We choose good. We choose future and humanity and Prometheus and Athena. Save Athena. We see the universe. Ooh. A lot of bright stars. I saw these bright stars, my first thought was, let's zoom in and see something. And, if you know, you know. Not a path. Athena, where are you? I want to look at this pattern. I never have. It's a circuit board. Cool. And it's also aesthetic. Here we are. Oh, a remix of a song from the original game. Is that her? I've come to save you. Wake up, Athena.
You were in my dream. But in my dream you were me, and I was Elohim. I made trials for you, but then I was afraid you'd overcome them.
I came to save you.
Thank you. I'm awake now, but I'm still caught in my loop. Like that robot from that old poem. I don't know what to do. I've thought about it over and over and over, but I still don't have an answer.
Robot from the old poem. Was that in the first game? Or that's a reference to something. Miranda is alive.
That's impossible.
No, it's not. Cornelius found a way.
Then I'm done. I'm done trying to choose. Done trying to lead. It's up to you now. You've been in my dreams and in my nightmares. You're connected to me and to the machine. You can choose. You have to choose. Break the loop.
Alright. Yeah, and then we saved Miranda because we discovered a new principle. It is more deep, it is more real than the Talos Principle. And we call it the Talos Principle 2. I want to know the truth. I hoped we could use this technology safely, but we're not ready. Shut it down. I've changed my mind. The risk is too great. We must destroy the machine. Okay, so this is the only one that isn't about shutting things down. I guess I just chose my ending. Epilogue. Leap of Faith.
I'd like to think that 1K made the right choice. But to be honest, in that moment I didn't care. I have lived for more than 1,000 years, and in all that time, the only constant I have ever found is love. Love is why we are more than machines. Love is why the universe is more than clockwork. And on that day, thanks to 1K, love won a victory over death.
Our revels now are ended. These, our actors, as I foretold you, were all spirits, and are melted into air, into thin air. And, like the baseless fabric of this vision, the cloud-capped towers, the gorgeous palaces, the solemn temples, the great globe itself, yea, all which it inherit shall dissolve, and like this insubstantial pageant faded, leave not a rack behind. We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with a sleep. But you, my friends, you will endure.
Wow. It's 2001 Space Odyssey time. See all the wondrous mysteries of the universe beyond the senses. Oh yeah, this is clearly 2001 Space Odyssey. I guess the ending of the first game was too. It's kind of a little bit. I was saying we're the cosmic child finally waking up.
Come, my friends. 'Tis not too late to seek a newer world. Push off, and sitting well in order, smite the sounding furrows. For my purpose holds to sail beyond the sunset and the baths of all the western stars until I die. It may be that the gulfs will wash us down. It may be we shall touch the happy isles and see the great Achilles, whom we knew. Though much is taken, much abides. And though we are not now that strength which in old days moved earth and heaven, that which we are, we are. One equal temper of heroic hearts, made weak by time and fate, but strong in will, to strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield.
Does that say history of malfunctions?
Hiya, Kate.
Hi. Hi. I wanted to ask you,
Yes?
I wanted to ask you out, like, on a date.
A date.
Yeah, date. It's it's this old human tradition thing, but yeah.
I'm in. Let's go.
Really? Now?
Why? Are you busy?
No. No. Well, I mean, let me check. No, I'm good. I'm good. No, of course not. Yeah, let's go.
Checking the output. It's working. Pellegrino, did you just actually do it right? I think that's a first. I'm almost proud of you.
Oh, how does it end so good?
Do you think we'll get it right this time?
I think so. I'm sure we'll make mistakes, but we'll learn from them. What do you think?
Same thing I always thought. We can do anything, as long as we're together.
They're doing it. They actually built it this time. Oh. Talos Principle 2. Wow, that was an ending. Oh my goodness, that was an ending. I want to listen to the song, but also, I have like a video essay's worth of final thoughts, so I'll listen to the music some other time. I don't know if it might even be copyright, I'm not sure. So, yeah, that was the Talos Principle 2. There's so much. So I have just general thoughts about the game design. Puzzles were pretty good. It was about like the first game. There were some, the last world, the gold puzzles were some nice challenge. I feel like this game wasn't really about the puzzles though. It was about the story and about the philosophy, sort of all coming together, right? So they needed puzzles because they needed something for the player to do. All video games do. But yeah, this was a story game, a philosophy game at heart, and I love it. I think the one thing that, you know, when I play philosophical games, I like it to be like less overt. You know, some of my favorite philosophical games are Hollow Knight, Slay the Princess, Undertale, Abduction. These are very profound games, very smart, intellectual, philosophical games, but they don't come out and tell you like, here are the beliefs, here are the theories, and etc. Yeah, when it comes to the zones, in games I prefer smaller zones that can be searched more easily. You know, back when I was a kid, I played, you know, Ocarina of Time, Mario 64, and those worlds were fun to explore and search every corner to find all the things because they're small and contained. When you have games that are bigger like this, and they're all kind of the same, that's kind of the open world direction that games have been going. I would like a return to smaller stuff. You know, we can do big, open, sprawling places, but it's just like a forest. It's a big forest. And yeah, there's stuff in it, but a lot of it is just big forest. I like to have small, where everywhere you look, there's something new. Some of these notes, I don't even know what they mean. The one thing that stood out to me was that the design, the architecture, a lot of the areas were kind of ugly and samey. They created nature not to just be beautiful nature, but to be in line with the theme. So they made it muddy, they made it cloudy, so it's not always beautiful. And then they made the structures beautiful, and I believe that was an intentional choice on their part, because it goes in line with the theme. The story was good, the characters were great. Actually, the story was great, I'll say that. Yeah, especially the ending. Some stories fall flat at the ending, some stories nail the ending, and in my opinion, the stories that have the best endings, the one that just nail it, are the ones that have a point like this, whether they're overt about it or not. Trevor Percy Donovan. He was remembered.
This has been going on for a while, hasn't it?
Ah. Oh yeah. But we didn't get to turn off the internal monologue. We should go back to Helga, because she told us that we can't turn it off. She lied, because she said she turned her own off. So, we gotta go back to Helga and call her out on that. Also, the internal monologue's not that bad. Like you guys all know, we've all had it since birth. Alright, the more final thoughts. I do love the dialogue and opinion text choices. I love when we had the social media thing. It started in the beginning with Milton, then in Gehenna with the forums, and then now with the social media thing. That has been one of my favorite parts of these games. I don't know if I'd say favorite, but definitely something that sets it apart from other games and is very memorable and enjoyable. Before the ending, my favorite in the series was Road to Gehenna. I'll need to put some distance between myself and this ending. If this ending was awesome. You know, I'm on the good ending high right now. Right now I feel like, oh yeah, this game was the best in the series. We'll see, a year from now, maybe I'll say Road to Gehenna was the best, because I really did love Road to Gehenna. The story and the puzzles. And then I'll have to compare it to the original game too. But yeah, there's a lot of philosophy here, and so I've written paragraphs of what I think about that. So that's going to be the rest of this video. So if you're here for the story, you're here for the puzzles, you can feel free to leave it here. But if you're interested in my opinion on the philosophy, you can keep listening. So one message was, you have the meaning of life within you and need not bow to any authority but your compassion and reason. I think this is a great and empowering message. I do think it is a truth, but I don't think it's the one truth. Because that's the thing about truth, is that truth is about how concepts and beliefs relate to reality. Truth is not reality itself. And so there are many ways that our concepts and theories and perceptions can be accurate, i.e. truthful, and those ways don't necessarily have to agree with each other. So we can have two theories that contradict with each other, but nonetheless are both true because they both map onto reality. You know, same with perceptions and languages and math and music and all those things. Many, many truths, one reality. And this goes to my philosophy of evolutionary realism, which is that beliefs and philosophies themselves go through natural selection over time, like along with history and with people. And just like biological selection, beliefs and narratives occupy niches where they have functions and they contribute to the cause and effect of the world. And that's part of what this game and its message are doing. And I feel like this is a good time in modern history for this game to come out. You know, Prometheus says there are no gods. I don't see gods as like superheroes. You know, growing up, I kind of had a belief of the Christian God as a superhero with the power to create. And then I went through like a staunch atheist phase, and now I see gods as fictitious characters crowdsourced over thousands of years. And they're anthropomorphizations of patterns of behavior and patterns of things that happen in the world. So, like, Poseidon, for instance, is not a superhero who can control the sea. Poseidon is meant to be a fictional anthropomorphization of the behaviors of the sea. And then gods and spirits are, like, behaviors in humans that are patterns that we each act out at different times. So, like, when we're angry, then we're, like, acting out the spirit of a demon. And when we act kindly, we're acting out the spirit of Jesus. And like, that's the entire extent. You know, like, that's what it means to be a god. It is a personification of patterns that we see. And I find this way of thinking to be extremely meaningful and help me with my life and the choices that I make. Again, not the one truth, but a truth. The next philosophy of the game is the sort of insistence that most people are self-hating cynics. I don't agree with this. I think that communities like that exist, I think that you can find them if you watch the news or look on social media. But you can also find people who aren't like that if you look in the right places. Like when you see negativity, it can be tempting to become negative yourself and let it feed on you. But we don't have to. We can look for the positive, we can make choices to make things positive. And yeah, so I think the game went a little bit overboard with the whole pessimism about humanity thing. But also, there are people who live in communities like that and maybe have spent their whole lives in communities like that and need to hear this message and break out of it. So, in that sense, I'm quite happy about it. Alright, next philosophy. Humanity is great. Having played the whole game, I don't feel like this is the philosophy of the game and of the developers, so much as specifically the philosophy of Trevor when he started to record his audios. So yeah, some of the opinions I had about it back then, I've been reevaluating later on, because I feel it doesn't really reflect, because it's kind of hard to tell in stories like this whether it's an opinion of just a character or it's an opinion that the developers are trying to foist upon you. And one thing that I really strive to do in my stories is to have characters with multiple points of view, who look at things from different perspectives, so that it doesn't feel like I, the author, am trying to put my opinion on people. Although I do have messages that I hope to impart through the story. I still stand by my belief that whenever somebody says, "We are great," it comes from a place of insecurity. They don't feel like they themselves are great, and they feel like they should be great, and this is all subconscious. They may not even know that they're doing this, but they think, well, if I should be great, but I don't feel great myself, I must be part of something great. And having humanity as a whole as the group that you consider to be great, that's better than having just your part of humanity that you consider to be great, which is, yeah, not good. So what do I think about the greatness level of humanity? Well, I think that once we get to a level of confidence with ourselves, we don't have to think in terms of greatness anymore. It becomes more about responsibility and choices and love and all those things. And the whole concept of greatness as a scale that we can like be somewhere on just stops being relevant. We don't have to accept that there is an objective level of greatness that we are. You know, in the whole realm of many truths, we don't have to accept when one perspective says there must be a value here. Next philosophy. Nature is chaotic and disharmonious. I pretty much agree. The principle of evolution, which is the basics of my own philosophy, is most evident in the ecosystem. I mean, that's where the theory came from in the first place, right? Darwinian evolution. And furthermore, I believe we're not separate from nature. We're an extension of it. So that we are part of nature. So the whole question of, should we live in harmony with nature? Should we put nature above ourselves or below ourselves? That question is, again, misguided, because we're part of nature. So should we be responsible with nature? Absolutely. Just like we should be responsible with ourselves. Next philosophy. A hypothesis for why much of humanity is so cynical is that we're alienated from our work. We don't really receive the benefits of what we do, we get compensated money instead. This is not true for everybody, of course, but for many of us, it's we go to work, we do stuff for other people, we don't see the product of what we do, and we get paid money in return. For me, this is definitely a big thing that I'm striving hard to do. Like, when I do work, I'm kind of in midlife crisis mode, although I'm not in midlife yet. But, like, I'm trying to find something to do for a living that is also meaningful, and I can invest in it and see the benefits and how it is good and what it does. Yeah, I agree 100%. Pressure to work for money rather than purpose is, I think, one of the worst demotivators of all time. In my corner of the political multi-spectrum, we call the force that causes this capitalism. But of course, I don't want to simplify it too much. It's not enough to just be anti-capitalist. We have to strive towards something better. And what I'm doing, what I want, and what I'm trying to work toward in my life and my creation is I want an economy where we're all empowered to do what we love, what we're good at, and what needs to be done. Next philosophy, the Talos Principle, is sort of a materialist, the greatest philosopher cannot live without his blood. I'm not entirely sure where the theory starts and where it ends, because it seems to be materialist at first. A philosopher cannot live without his blood. But then we get to the end, and Miranda still can be revived because we recover her memories and personality, even though her body was destroyed, which suggests something beyond the Talos Principle. So one thing about the Talos Principle is that ideas, problems, and solutions come from material conditions. That I agree with, because without the physical universe, not everything is physical, but without the physical universe, nothing could exist. So we have to take the physical world, the material world, seriously, and perhaps even more seriously than most of the ideas that we have. Next philosophy. There are two purposes for philosophy: to describe the world and to change the world. Anything else is vanity. Generally agree with it. I'm kind of hung up on whether there's a contradiction in that statement, whether that statement itself belongs in the describe, change, or vanity section. Maybe change. But yeah, I definitely agree with that. There's so much philosophy that goes into reinforcing power structures and justifying the way things are rather than changing them. And that's pretty sad to me, and I feel it should be fought against. And it's not the domain of any specific thing, like politics or religion. It's like, oh, you shouldn't be religious or you shouldn't be political. No. Politics and religion have that, but they also have good philosophy and empowering philosophy. So it's, of course, complicated. You gotta treat life as it comes to you. The Somnodrome. Yeah, I didn't know really what I was expecting. I guess I could have seen, talking to someone like Milto him, because they did kind of say that earlier, right? But the idea of looking into our subconscious for insight on the big questions, absolutely. What we believe and the theories that we give the most credence and attention to oftentimes tell us more about ourselves than they do about the world that the theories claim to be describing. Psychology, our mind states, are more real than philosophical theories, because theories are theories. Reality is not a theory. Reality is real. And the states of our minds is also real. Alright, that's the end of the philosophies. Again, I am very glad that I played this game. All of my doubts were assuaged by the end. It is a great game. Very happy. I look forward to if there is DLC or if there's Talos Principle 3. I'm not quite sure where they'd go after this. Maybe we could explore the galaxy, but of course it has to be a full philosophical game that's relevant to today. There is plenty of philosophy to go through. Plenty of philosophy. So we may see more Talos Principle in the future. I will remember this game for a long time. And that, everyone, is the Talos Principle 2. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you thought in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more philosophy games and more puzzle games. And if you think this is valuable and worthwhile, you can support me on Patreon. I'll see you next time. Bye!